ये white वाला टिकट.
हाँ, this is. Hello, anybody there? Good evening, friends. Sharad, good evening. How do you read me? Can you hear me? Yeah, Sharad, nice to have you in the class. So, can you hear me? Am I loud and clear? Audible? All right. So, good evening. So, you found some time today early, right? So, that's good. Welcome, Arnav. All right. So, Sharad, I hope this will be useful for you. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome on an Academy Plus. We are here with our course, Proven Strategy for Success in SSBs. So, today we shall be talking about the second technique, that is the group testing technique, which essentially is about the performance of an individual in a group. Okay, how does a person behave in a group or in a team? So that is essentially what the group testing technique assesses or evaluates in the candidates. So we shall be talking about this. I hope you guys are following the discussion forum and the WhatsApp group because we're sharing certain important things there, some advanced information. Okay, so like I had posted a topic that we'll be discussing in the group discussion, and it would help if you go through these posts a little early, okay, so that we can have a meaningful interaction. Otherwise, it will be more of a monologue rather than an interactive session. So as much of interaction possible, we must do it. Kaushik Datta, good evening and welcome on Academy. So please shoot your positive news. Arnav, Sharad, Kaushik, quickly, quickly. Jai Hind. So I have a sip of my tea. Please keep texting your positive news. In fact, as I had been suggesting that you need to identify your areas of achievement or your strong core areas. Today, Rupam had sent a beautiful, in fact, two beautiful sketches, which some of you would have seen that. No, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be necessarily a newspaper story. It can be any happening, any event, okay, in your daily life, either today, yesterday, day before yesterday, whatever. So the aim is that you focus on things which are positive. Okay, so that is the aim. Aim is not necessarily to go through the newspaper. Yes, it helps when I'm saying go through the newspaper because you also simultaneously getting updated on the current events. So that ek pan do ka, both the purposes are served. But as far as uh, imbibing positivity in you guys, then yes, it has to be something positive. It could be a newspaper, it could be a novel, it could be a movie, it could be some interaction, some event, some activity that you have been part of. All right, so that is how it has to be built up. So Kaushik, generally you are updated with the news. So what are the news? China-India relations can be discussed. Doklam issue and the Silk Route, of course, these are the issues. Rana Das Gupta backs Tagore Literacy Award prize. Okay, going for first woman to moon by 2024. Now this is by India or is it by US or some other country? NASA. Okay, good. 28th April, World Day for Safety and Health at Work. All right. Yeah, health at work, it is becoming an issue. Okay, with 24/7 kind of work culture, people are devoting a lot of time at work, not finding time for themselves. So there is a need to look at it also. Okay, the quote of the day: the grass is greener where you water it. You agree with that? So you need to focus on the areas where you want growth. Okay, where you want to excel. So you need to water it. You need to focus and you need to put some efforts there. India, world's fourth biggest military spender in 2018. So who are the first three? Sharad. China removes BRI map that showed JNK Arunachal as part of India. US, China, and Saudi Arabia. Okay, good. Nice to see that you guys are updated. Okay, on the news, current events. India is in the fifth place. Okay, all right. So repeating it, the grass is greener where you water it. So please identify the areas where you want the grass to become greener, where you want an area in your life where you want better results. So pay more attention there. Progress along the road, positive news. We are discussing current events, current affairs. Yes, I think that also I'm sure you guys are working on it. Physical activities, needless to say or re-emphasize it. I hope you're doing it for your own benefit. Core strength area. Sarath, please identify your core strength area and see what kind of achievements do you have in that field. Okay. So let's see what is the rationale of group testing. So like I said, group testing is your performance in the group or the team. Okay. Uh, Quite often it so happens that when we are asked to take a call on an issue, we have certain personal opinions, and we by and large go about go talking about it in detail. If we are not, I would say, confronted by somebody else, some other views. But what happens the moment you get into a group, your point of view could be supported or could be negated by other members in the group. The kind of activity, the kind of approach that you take, the kind of attitude that you show may be contested, may be supported, right, by the other members of the group. And that is where the actual game lies, how you behave in a team. So it's not about the individual story, it is about how an individual works in a group. There is something called Gestalt theory. In this, what happens is, first, you try and integrate different strangers or different elements. Okay, you integrate them, and then gradually disintegrate, right? Get them focused on individual stories, individual actions, while remaining in this overall group. Okay, and finally, after one person has seen how they have come closer, how have they behaved individually, and now having known each other's strengths, each other's potentialities, the group is again reintegrated. Okay, so this is what basically is done in the group testing technique, right? So let us see what else happens. Okay, Sharad says I participated in KV Nation for handball in 2011. I was also the sports secretary of my college, and I conducted sports festival for the first time in my college with the help of my batchmate and seniors. During my college time, I had been the part of my college basketball team. Excellent. All right, so you have some achievements under your belt. Excellent. Right. So we will dwell more on this some other time. So staying with the group testing series. So what happens is, first, it is conducted in three stages or three parts. Okay, the first is the basic series tests. So what all happens in the basic series? You have a group discussion. That is the number one test. Uh, okay, so you have a group discussion. Now this is a stage where it's an exploration stage. The members of the group, they try and see who is this chap, how does he talk, try and gauge each other. Okay. Then next comes group planning exercise. This is a little bit of competition is added here. Somebody is trying to be more competitive, somebody trying to be one up, and things like that. Then comes the progressive group task. Now this is and the first two tasks are done indoors. In the sense, there's no outdoor activity as such. The group discussion could be held indoors in a room, or it could also be held in a GT ground, okay, under a shade. Group planning exercise again is an indoor exercise, but progressive group task is the first task when the group is taken out in the open. You are exposed to certain structures, a ground, okay, and certain tasks are given to you which you are supposed to perform as a team. Thereafter comes a competition stage, where is the group obstacle race, where let's say there are four groups in a particular SSP. So all these groups are made to form into each team. Let's say there are A, B, C, D, four groups. So they are made into four teams, and you're supposed to move as a team, carry a certain load, and cross certain obstacles. Okay, so there is a competition between these teams, and this brings about your cohesion as a team, right? So that is basically the GT Basic series. We will be covering the um, confirmatory series and final series later on. Today we shall stay with group discussion. So what happens in group discussion? So you have so candidates are made to sit in a semicircle, right? You sit in a semicircle. Why semicircle? Because if you're sitting in a straight line, then you can't see each other. The idea of making people sit in a semicircle is that the people who are there, he can look this side, he can look this side, he can look this side or this side, and they face each other and they communicate with each other. Okay. Now this is not possible when you're sitting in a straight line. So that is why in GT now group discussion you're made to sit in a, and the same thing happens in PPDT as well. When the PPDT discussion takes place, there also you're sitting in a semicircle. So the GD has two rounds. Uh, there are two rounds of group discussion. In the first round, you are given a choice of two topics. Right? These could be any two topics, usually current affairs, so that you all are updated with it. And the group is asked to choose one of these topics and discuss among themselves. Right? So the discussion takes place. The time is 20 minutes. Okay, outer limit is 20 minutes. In the second discussion, uh, the GTO would give you some topic. Okay, and there is no choice in that particular topic. So you got to discuss on those topics. Now, what are some of the things that we see in this? Okay, as assessors, firstly, your awareness level. Okay. So if a current affairs topic is given, now those who have been reading the current events, or those who are agenda, okay, about what's happening around. So if you're reading newspapers, you're reading certain magazines, current affairs events, you should be in a position to speak. Okay. So remember, knowledge is power. If you have knowledge, if you have a content about a particular topic, you would be in a better position to put across your views. You may be in a better position to initiate the discussion. Okay. Any person who initiates the discussion has a little advantage, right? So even when you find that it is something akin to running a 400-meter race in a athletic ground. So the person who is on the innermost circle, right? So he gets some advantage, right? And because he has to cover the, I mean, everybody covers the same distance, but yes, he does have some kind of an advantage, less diameter. Okay, but yeah, I mean, you're spaced out. All right. So the point I'm trying to make is, yes, an early starter has an advantage. However, it is not. mandatory that no, if you don't speak early, you lose out the battle. No, it's not so. I mean, that is some myth which is floating around that you have to initiate the discussion. After all, in a group of 8, how many can initiate the discussion? Just one person. Okay, it doesn't mean that the others who are speaking a bit later, their views will not be counted or no, they can't make an impression. Okay, so if you can make a first impression, nothing like it. The second thing is now how do you communicate? How do you express yourself? Are you articulate enough? आप अच्छी तरह से समझा सकते हो अपने point of view को, एक कोई reason दे सकते हो, reason logic के साथ में आप बता रहे हो, या you just rattling it out any which way, right? So I have said earlier something that I called KISS, right? Uh, yeah. So keep it short and simple, right? Don't have to show your अंग्रेजी. यहाँ पे आपको इंग्लिश की लिटरेचर या कमांड ओवर इंग्लिश और लिटरेरी इंग्लिश थर्ड टाइप इज नॉट required at all. Okay, so what is required is speak in simple English, simple language which can be understood by the group, because when the other members of the group are able to understand your point of view, they will support you. But if they are not able to understand your point of view, what you're trying to say, they will look the other way. Okay, so you have more or less lost out. So to ensure that they understand, speak in their language, speak simple, simple English. बहुत ज़्यादा अटक जाते हो, एक use of phrase of Hindi, no problems. Okay. Uh, Now, it is unlike the PPDT discussion where you are required to come to a consensus. Here, there is nothing very mandatory that you are required to come to a consensus story. However, you are a team and you are going to work as a group. So it is still desirable that you cooperate with each other. So have some empathy, have some respect for others' point of views. Right? Don't be very rigid. Don't be very dismissive of others' views. Right? So you need to be careful about all these issues. Now, when you're discussing, and suppose your point of view has been contested or has been negated by the other person, so do you actually give up, or do you try and make your try and project your point of view in a slightly different manner? That means, are you firm in conviction that what you are saying is correct? All right, so you need to probably convince them in a different manner. Okay, you can take another approach. All right, so it is not really a test of English, it is more a test of your emotional quotient. Okay, empathy, making people understand, listening to them, and then trying to find a common ground, right? So that is not mandatory. Okay. There are various ways in which you can agree to others point of view. Even if you are not agreeing, you're disagreeing with somebody else's point of view, that has to be done in a polite manner. Okay, so this is something which is actually seen in this group discussion. Like I said, if you're better informed, forewarned, forearmed. So if you have prior knowledge about certain subject or some topic which has been discussed, so you will be an advantage. However, there can be cases where some topic has been given about which you really don't know much. Okay, so obviously you can't. In such a case, generally you will not be able to initiate a discussion meaningfully. You may do it for the heck of it, but meaningfully you may not be able to initiate a discussion. So here, what is advisable is you listen to one or chat, okay, and see what they have to say. Now you can always curate that content. You can always add something. I'm sure there is no topic about which you can't. If you got certain inputs, you can always add something to it. You can have an opinion about it, whether you can agree or you can disagree. So you can always add on to it. Initially, yes, if you're not aware of that subject or that topic, you may not be able to say very much. But later on, having listened to one or two people, you can get into the discussion, right? So that's another technique of getting into a discussion, even if you don't know about it. Then you can, maybe play a moderator. Some of the smart candidates I've seen, they play a very good moderator. They actually their own knowledge about the subject is almost zero, but the manner in which they go about, take somebody's views, take chess number 1, chess number 4, chess number 6. Okay, so they've made very good points, and what chess number 4 has said is also very valuable. We must not forget what chess number 6 has given an additional input. So gentlemen, I think we can say this, or we can come to some kind of a common story or common ground, right? So that is an art which some people definitely have. All right, some people may not have, but doesn't matter. Okay, so everyone is gifted differently. What is important is your confidence, the impact you make through your points, through your arguments on the group. Okay, so ultimately it is your impact on the group. Okay, whether the group is listening to you, the group takes cognizance of the points that you have given, right? So that is the main issue here. But the group discussion being the first of the group activities, there will be initial glitches. Okay, so there'll be guys who will be a little shy. Okay, now I know in the group itself there are some guys here who are a bit shy. All right, so they may not be able to speak up initially, or they may not be able to initiate the discussion. So my suggestion to them is that please start reading aloud. Okay, जो भी आप पढ़ रहे हो, you're reading something, read it aloud. Be more, get in the habit of listening to your own voice and loudly. Uh, Practice certain paragraphs or something, or some argument you make, record it on your voice record on your mobile, listen to it. Okay, you can keep this exercise, keep doing this exercise for the next 10, 15, 20 days. You will find that there is an improvement, because once you listen to your voice, you can make out, okay, there's something wrong here. Okay, I'm not loud enough. So things like that would help you. There will be people who will be very, I would say, um, maybe a bit rash. Okay, so even if you listen to your own voice, you will find that, okay, something amiss here. Right? So particularly for those who are a little slow to pick up, they hesitate, nervousness of facing the group, try and practice this in small groups. Okay, have started reading newspapers aloud. Arnab, okay, good, but if I can see your profile, whatever I've come across in the last couple of days, last few lessons. I don't think you have any issue about speaking publicly. So am I right? But newspaper reading, yes. I mean, from the point of view of getting knowledge. So now those guys who have, for some reason, not been able to make it in the screening test. Okay, this is something which you need to look at. That means your confidence level needs a boost. Your power of expression, your communication, your maybe a little bit of English. That can also bring in a little bit of anxiety if you're not fluent or you're not comfortable with spoken English. It can add to the anxiety and that can inhibit you from speaking smoothly. All right. And those guys who are shy, in any case, they need to overcome this. Right? So it is very much doable. Don't worry about it. But yes, you have to consciously do it. Okay, like I said, the portion of the grass, you need to focus on that. Right? So grass is greener when where you water it. So if that is an area where you feel that my spoken English is poor or my what do you call confidence level is less, my English is not up to the mark, or I'm shy, I'm very mild, I get slightly nervous. So address this area. Listen to your own voice, start talking loudly, all right, and form a small group. Try and speak to each other, right? So this is going to help you. All right. Okay, so like I said, I had given out a topic. What's most important factor in Sino-Indian relations? Usually, you will be given three kind of choices or three options in every group discussion topic. So you got to choose one of them, right? Like for example, here we are saying what is the most important. Yeah, what is the most important factor in Sino-Indian relations? Is it the security issues? Is it the trade? Or is it the political, ethnic issues? So I got a response from mm, I think Rupa. Yeah. So I just pasted it here. So I got this response in WhatsApp and I was able to just put it out here. So for the rest of you, you can also come up with your responses, right? You can write it here quickly. So what Rupam says, the views are, according to my knowledge and understanding, it is the security issue that has been most bothering factor between India and China. Yeah, this is due to the activities of China, like Doklam issue, China expanding its army and trade with our neighboring countries like Pakistan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and building the string of pearls, etc. It has been a red alert for India. Yeah. So this is the view that one of the group members holds. So what are your views? So quickly, somebody can say, do you agree with that the security issue is the main this thing, or trade? Now trade is also an important issue. Whatever China is doing essentially for trade. Okay, so it wants to dominate the world trade one day. So now for us, whether the priority number one is the addressing the trade issue or the security issue, political and ethnic issue, I'm not sure, but if some of you feel that way, you can say. So Arnav says Doklam issue, it is between Bhutan and China. India has interfered uh, in it as China wants to build rail to Doklam, and the chicken snake of India is getting insecure. Okay, so factually you're correct, but what is your take? The point of contention is which is the most important factor. So, friends, what usually happens is that one tends to stray from the topic. Okay, and that is another way, another opportunity for some of you to get into the discussion. Okay, gentlemen, I think we are straying from the topic. The topic before us is that what is most important. So, is it the security issue? Is it the trade? So, one can get into the discussion even in this mode. All right. So, Arnav, you got the point? Yeah. So, security issue is the most important. Now, Doklam is one example. Another thing, what the other member said, it is the string of pearls. You heard about string of pearls. You heard about CPEC. You heard about OBOR. You heard about that Harbin Tota port, right? So these are the issues. You heard about those an issue where China had backed the previous Maldivian government, right, and extracted some very very favorable policy decisions which were counter to India's national interest. All right, so need to be a little attentive and curious about these things, particularly the relationship with our neighbors or those with major world powers. All right, just imagine, just keep in mind that as far as your approach is concerned, if you keep the national interest in mind, okay, keep the national interest in mind, you will generally not go wrong in your priorities. Okay, so long as you are clear about it. What is national interest? So in group discussion, in any activity in the SSB, uh, you're advised not to take political sides. You're not advised not to take sides based on religion. Try and be absolutely neutral. Okay, no Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, and things like that. Okay, just neutral. Okay, no mention of, generally avoid unless until it is very integral to the context. Avoid saying that no particular political party. Right? You say government of the day and the opposition. Okay, that is how you address these issues. Okay, so Arnav has any trade issue, sir? Okay, there are a lot of trade issues. Balance of payment issue. If you see, you try and study whether we have a favorable balance of payment with China or unfavorable. Are we comfortable with it, or do we want some more action on this? Okay, the fact of the matter is the Chinese goods, Chinese manufacturing, it has impacted the world economy at large. Okay, so whether it is your, all the multinational companies, their products are manufactured in China, right? So, so please study this. Have your own take. Trade war between China and USA. A lot of sanctions are imposed upon China. So China is inclined towards India. Okay, that is one take. Now, Sarad, do you think that this point is a more important factor for India to consider at this point of time? Does it override the security issues, or uh, security issues take priority at this point of time. Okay, so please study those CPC, OBOR. Just now, China has finished a meeting. Okay, they had a conclave in Beijing, I think, where a lot of developing countries, other countries who are part of the OBOR initiative, they've taken part and they claim to have sealed a lot of multinational deals with different countries. India, of course, officially did not partake in this. China-India border standoff, military standoff between Indian armed forces and People Liberation of China, constructed on Doklam Pride Junction of border area. Okay, China is using its veto for holding Azhar case in UN Security Council, and Azhar is a big issue for India. So all these points of view would become your inputs in the discussion. So remember, gentlemen, unless you participate, unless you actively participate in the group discussion, no one can give you credit. Okay, you may be the best speaker floating around, but unless you actually take part in the discussion, you cannot be given any credit. So any which way, you have to find a way to get into the discussion. Of course, if you can try and do it tactfully. Like I said, there are so many ways in which you can get into the discussion. Okay, so try and practice that. Uh, Sir says, no, sir, it's the way we can make our relation. If we are talking about security, then let me give an example. India depends China for installation of 5G technology, and China installs nukeware in its installation. It harms our security. So ultimately, what are we going to? So, Sarad, are we talking about the trade as a priority or security as a priority? Okay, that is the moot point. Okay, so 5G technology is an emerging technology. Yeah, I think these are early days. Let's see. China trade silk road trade, ancient trade route linking in China with that carried goods and ideas, silk egotism, security purposes. All right. Okay. So somebody just joined. I think it was Deepak. Who was that? Who just joined? Welcome on Academy, the latest joining. So can you contribute, Deepak? What do you say? The topic is there in front of you on the slide. What's most important factor in Sino-Indian relations? Is it the security issues? Is it the trade or the political and ethnic issues? China covert military support to Pakistan and not support India in curtailing terrorism. Okay. Yeah, that is something very, very clear. So China is supporting. So gentlemen, I'm taking the liberty of addressing all of you gentlemen because the only lady here in the group probably Rupam is not there right now. So do chip in with your views. Okay, so have some kind of points that you want to make, and when actually you do it live, in the sense when you're discussing in a group, so that is the time the real litmus test comes. Otherwise you may have a lot of points in your mind, but whether you're able to verbalize them, you're able to vocalize those thoughts in front of the group, that is the real test. Okay, but never mind. At least if you've thought about it, you should be able to at least. I mean, it'll be easy for you to speak out. Can you say more issues we will look upon India and China? Uh, mm, okay, I mean anybody can comment on this. What Arnav has said. Okay, so security, there are a lot of issues, like I mentioned, string of pearls, CPEC, McMahon line, yeah, all right. So these issues with Azhar, Masood Azhar, and OBOR, support to China, okay, and China also keeps supporting the rebel groups in Myanmar. They also try and influence our neighbors. Tawang issue, yeah, that's there in Arunachal. Okay, having said this, like I said, uh, there are two topics. Okay, the second topic, I mean, the first topic, of course, which I have already given to you, is the one you can say that it has been given by the GTO. Now, the first topic, that is of your choice. Would anybody like to suggest any topic? In fact, I wanted this thing to come before the class started. Okay, some of you have been to the SSB, some of you have been seeing, studying some material, or even in general parlance, if you say, you can always come up with some suggestion as to what can be discussed. Okay, Deepak, what can be discussed? Arnav says Sri Lankan civil war. Okay, so that is one thing. Yes. Anybody else? Sudan crisis? Not really. Not. I mean, something which is more urgent, something which is more topical. Okay. Who plays a crucial role for development of a child? Yes. So who plays the role? Sarad, what are the options? What are the options you are giving here? So it could be mother, right? WHO. All right. So it could be mother. It could be father. It could be school. What is GOV? Venezuelan Crisis Tri-Service Commands. Friends. Okay. Okay. Venezuelan crisis is another topic which is emerging. Yes. But now all of you, I would like you to please address the issue what Prasanna has said. Sarad. See, who plays a more important role in the life, in the development of a child, right? More crucial role in the development of a child. All right. How do you go about creating a poll? Hmm? Yeah, we'll see that. Okay. Any Venezuelan crisis? Okay, so it's food for thought. All these topics, right? So have think about these. You can discuss in your groups. Okay. there's something called nota. Okay, election season is on, right? None of the above. Now, do you think this is a good option to take, to follow by the citizens, by the voters? Arnav, your take on nota. Sharad, just say yes or no. Okay, if you support that nota should be used, say yes. If you support that it should not be used, say no. Okay, so all of you, let's have your views quickly. Yeah, can you hear me? Yes. My stand was parents. That is okay, sir. Fine. We are talking about nota. None of the above, which is used in the elections these days. Okay, one of the options that the person can exercise rather than voting for a particular party, he'll say, I support none of the above. NOTA, nota. Okay, I just want a standpoint on this. Now, what is this? GOV? Sorry. I think I have not refreshed it. No, it should not be used. It's useless. If one vote is casted to different one, he or she will win. Okay. No. Yes. So, Sarath, why do you think nota should be a good option to use? Rejection is right if practiced, if no candidate is felt suitable. Okay, fine. Right, so you have your own point of view, right? So different people will have differing viewpoints, so please understand that why I've given you this kind of a scenario is that you learn to respect people's views and don't expect everyone will go with what you think, right? So the very fact that there is an option which can be exercised means that people have a choice, right? So now when you exercise a particular choice, you need some conviction, you need some reason why you're exercising a particular choice. Okay, so in this particular case, I think it is perfectly all right. So when you find that the people who are in the group discussion, some differing points of views are being projected, even it may sound something very silly or something very out of the way, please respect it. Okay, so learn to have respect for people's point of view. Yeah, you can debate, you can discuss, but don't reject it outright. All right, so these things would count. Okay, so let's see some of the topics. Venezuelan crisis, yes, it is something that can be talked about. So there are a lot of topics, and I would request that all of you do write at least one topic and forward it in the group. Okay, keep studying. All right, so yeah. So anybody, any questions, any doubts? So I'll take on some questions. Sarad, you come for the first time or maybe the second time. So I do hope all of you are going through the previous lessons. Sometimes we join the class late and we miss out certain things. Please try and understand at least the rationale of things, rationale of various tests which I've been trying to give. I'm trying to make it easy to understand and not, some people make a lot of how out of it. Okay, so the aim is to make it easy to put you people at ease, remove your anxiety. All right, so if you have any issues, any clarifications, do get back to me. Use the discussion forum and the an academy, right? So today, yesterday I posted something, today also I posted something. So like when we require ideas for TAT, like some ideas. Okay, so sir, the ideas for TAT. Now what exactly is TAT? Thematic perception test. If you remember, recall that I have been saying none of the situations which are given in the SSB, be it in the psychological test, be it in the group task, or certain situations or certain things which are covered in the interview, barring a certain, maybe 5-10% of the questions which may be out of your maybe slightly higher degree of difficulty at times. Rest everything that you are presented with, the choices that you're presented with, the kind of situations that you're presented with, are all daily life situations. So, sir, do you really think that a particular picture or a stimulus which has been given in the TAT is something that you can't comprehend? Okay, I'm sure any picture is going to um, touch your memory somewhere. Okay, it is going to relate to something that you have done in life, that you have seen in life, that you have heard in your life, that you have maybe it is something that has happened with you, something has happened with somebody and you've been a witness. It could be a scene out of a movie, it could be an accident, an incident, it could be anything. All right, but I'm sure these are not things which are something unheard of. So why do you have to overthink? A lot of ideas coming, so I sometimes cannot make my story in given time. So you are uh, expected to give a story in given time. If you are thinking too much, okay, that means you are trying to concoct a story. So the natural reaction is not coming from your side. So my way of guiding the experience is I don't encourage people to sort of lie about things, to fake responses. Okay, so there are people who say, okay, fake it till you make it. So I don't believe in that theory. I say, give out your responses, be natural, but yes, be the best that you can be. So you have the good, the bad, the ugly in you. All right. So how you choose to behave or how you choose to present yourself is entirely up to you. But present something which is already there in you. This is one reason which I say that you start thinking of positive things. Okay, the more good things, positive things that you think of, the better you will feel. And when you feel better, good thoughts come to you. Okay, the same thing, you may have a particular picture may trigger a happy memory, or it may trigger a sad memory or a tragic memory. So it is entirely up to your state of mind. So if you can get your state of mind positive, your responses would also be positive. Okay, we all are kind, we can't lie wrong, we will be caught. I have been all the way whenever lied. So Arnav, first hand experience, and we're being very forthright about it. So like I said, no, none of us are perfect. Okay, Sarad, none of us are perfect, and as assessors we are very much alive to this fact. So there are no ideal personalities. Okay, we have certain good qualities, we have certain not so good qualities. Okay, we are good in one particular quality and we are low in particular another quality. So uh, sometimes we have made mistakes, it's no problem, so long as you're learning from the mistake, it is what is required. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is, you don't have to think too much. Okay, think positive. So the positive thoughts will come from you, from your memory. It will trigger a positive thought. Have you ever जब कभी आप अंधेरे में you think about some draconian thoughts or movies or something like that. आप एक डरावनी पिक्चर या सीरियल देख के बाहर जाते हो and रात के टाइम and some sound disturbs you. Suddenly the first thought that comes to your mind is something which is related to that serial. Okay, that you have just seen, or a horror movie that you have just seen. So that is the impact, the kind of inputs that you have on your mind. Of course, these are things called certain recent memories and long-term memory. So think about it, stay positive, look for good things to spend your time on, time with, right? And don't bother. If I mean, don't overthink. So, Sarat, particularly your area of concern is that you're overthinking. You're trying to say something which is very positive, something which is very, very socially desirable. That is what you are taking time in making a story which is socially desirable, which other people will say, yeah, damn good story. But you have already taken 6 minutes in that. Okay, or you're not able to complete the story. So one can really make out is it a concocted story or is it an original thought, right? Or it is a spontaneous thought, spontaneous reaction, right? So don't be over concerned about this, right? So hope this clarifies your doubt, Sharath. Now do practice with the approach that I have suggested to you. All right. So friends, do pay heed to whatever I have said. Be at it every day. Spend some time. Okay. And let's get a little bit more interactive in the discussion forum or otherwise in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So thank you very much, and see you tomorrow. Thank you.